Where do I go from here? This one day, I decide to cycle autonomously along Highway 3 in southern Alberta. A long and lonely road filled with dust, debris, and lots of canola. Lots of canola growing on either side of the road in this flat and barren, windy part of town. This is the story of the old gent along the Red Coat Trail. I want to give you a little bit of detail into a long-loved hobby of mine, cycling. And it's through cycling that one can meet the most interesting of people. Take, for instance, Boyd Stevens, one of 6 residents, believe it or not, in the hamlet of Orion, Alberta. That's about, I'd say 75 kilometers south of the city of Medicine Hat, if you know where that is. Now, I had to meet Boyd Stevens, for I had once read about him in a book. And the hamlet of Orion, where he lives, is along the Red Coat Trail. Boyd Stevens is in his early 80s and quite the character. As I cycle into this hamlet in search of water to quench my thirst from my arduous cycle, I meet a construction fellow at the entrance of this hamlet. He's paving the very first road in the hamlet of Orion. So I ask the construction fellow for water, and he replies to me in this very soft voice, "Try the garage over there." The man who runs the garage, he's quite the character. Quite the character, I said to myself. This must be Boyd Stevens whom I'm looking for. So I cycle to the garage, place my bicycle against the window, and attempt to open the door. But it's locked. I think to myself. All of a sudden, from the backyard comes an old gent dressed in a brown car mechanic suit. "What are you looking for?" the man asks me. "Oh, water," I say. "Do you have any water?" "Come on in," the man says, with this contagious smile on his face. He opens the door to the garage and says, "Have a seat," as he points to a chair nearby. "My name's Boyd," he says. "What's yours?" "Marcus," I reply. He opens his fridge, brings out some water and gives it to me and says, "That'll be $1." "Where are you off to?" Boyd asks. "I'm off to the province of Saskatchewan," I tell him. "Don't use the trail down that way," Boyd replies. "Some other cyclist came by the other day and I told him it wasn't paved and, well, it'd be impossible to cycle. He didn't listen to me. You better take heed. Don't use that trail if you know what's good for you," Boyd said. Boyd seemed a bit stern. I ventured to make small talk, and I slowly looked around his garage shop, filled with accoutrements of various sorts, from mechanic tools to old machines. And the wall was plastered with pictures of scantily clad ladies in swimsuits all over the wall. "Boyd, what's all over the wall?" "Well, that's how I like it. And that's how it's going to be. If you don't like it, too damn bad," he said. And he gave me this askance look and started to snicker. Boyd was to the point. He makes no qualms about who he is. A matter-of-fact kind of guy. No mincing of words with Boyd. He tells it like it is. We started some small chit-chat, and he showed me some articles that had been written about him in the Calgary Herald and Medicine Hat. Medicine Hat newspaper, that was it. Well, Boyd was quite the celebrity, and I asked if I could take his picture, and he obliged. I took a lovely picture of Boyd standing just at the entrance of his garage, and we chatted a bit more before I was on my merry way. Boyd is the oldest person in Orion and the only living person to be born, raised, and still living in the hamlet of Orion. You just don't get this type of history much anymore in Canada, and it's seldom, except maybe in small autonomous hamlets like that of Orion. And for an adventurous cyclist, there's nothing more memorable than meeting the old Gent along the Red Coat Trail.